shall now move on to the last two items on our agenda today, and we will now consider both items. And these are under agenda item 5, sub-items B and C, implementation of the program budget 2018 and 2019, and program budget 2020-2021, the regional perspective. The relevant documents are EUR/RC69/19 and EUR/RC69/18 and EUR/RC69/INFDOC/4. We have already listened to the presentations of Dr. Susan Basiri, and we can now move on to open the floor for intervention by member states. So please indicate if you wish to take the floor on sub-items 5B and 5C. Any member states wishing to take the floor? I give the floor to Denmark, to be followed by Switzerland. Denmark, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm speaking on behalf of the Nordic and Baltic countries Estonia, Finland, Iceland, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Sweden and Denmark. We welcome the programme budget 2020-2021. We find the new budget structure to be innovative, and we are optimistic that it will facilitate more flexible and expedient distribution of resources, as well as delivering better results. We follow the operational planning for the next biennium with great interest, and it is encouraging that the regions are fully engaged in the process to identify the type of support needed at regional and country level. A more agile organisation which cooperates across departments is fundamental for WHO to be able to address increasingly complex health issues. While we acknowledge the readiness of the European Office to make this transformation, we believe that the EB needs to be properly informed about how WHO has implemented this new approach at all levels, including how departments are incentivized and able to deliver as one WHO on joint outcomes. We support the increased focus to deliver at country level. With increased responsibilities comes increased accountability, and we seek a more informed discussion on WHO governing bodies about performance of country offices. We welcome the initiative to measure WHO's performance on each output in 6 different dimensions through a balanced scorecard. While we acknowledge the importance of not overloading the departments with an unrealistic evaluation burden, we are looking forward to seeing the results of the decision of this year's Health Assembly that WHO shall evaluate its output through a gender, equity and rights dimension. Looking into the next budget cycle, we strongly encourage WHO to return to a process where the draft programme budget is presented in full to the regional committees to allow for thorough discussions at regional level before the EB. At last year's regional committee, our countries raised a concern regarding the reporting burden of member states. We emphasised the importance of a holistic approach to reporting in WHO with a view to reducing the reporting burden, the burden of reporting at all levels of the organisation. We believe the number of surveys from both the regional office and headquarters could be reduced and the content and handling of the surveys improved. In addition, there remains a need to improve some practicalities around the reporting. Online-based surveys create difficulties where internal coordination is needed, and we need to be able to document and consult on our responses, which is not currently possible in online-based surveys. We encourage that a strong focus on streamlining and reducing the burden of reporting in all the work of the regional office will show as a best practice example to the entire organisation. We propose the development of an annual overview of planned reporting requests, which could be a useful tool to ensure timely reporting, coordination and efficient use of resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Denmark. Switzerland, to be followed by the delegate from Spain.
Madame la directrice régionale, Je prends la parole pour les points 5B et 5C de l'ordre du jour. La Suisse vous remercie de vos rapports détaillés sur le bilan de l'exécution du programme budgétaire 2018-2019 et le plan d'exécution de celui pour 2020-2021 dans la région européenne de l'OMS. Nous sommes satisfaits de constater que le programme budgétaire pour 2018-2019 est bien financé dans notre région et que 83% des fonds ont pu être débloqués fin juin 2019. Dans le même temps, nous espérons que l'utilisation globale du programme budgétaire de base approuvé, actuellement de 67%, va augmenter dans le futur. En ce qui concerne le plan d'exécution du programme budgétaire pour 2020-2021 dans la région, la Suisse soutient son orientation et ses 4 priorités stratégiques. Nous vous félicitons d'ailleurs pour l'approche ascendante avec une hiérarchisation des priorités et une planification avec les États membres. En raison des risques identifiés, notamment en ce qui concerne le caractère imprévisible du financement et la faiblesse des capacités nationales, nous nous attendons à ce que l'OMS Europe cherche activement le dialogue avec les États membres et qu'elle les informe de manière régulière sur les négociations qu'elle mène avec des donateurs potentiels. Finalement, nous nous réjouissons à la perspective de discuter très bientôt de l'avancement des travaux sur le cadre d'impact de l'OMS lors des rencontres avec les États membres et tous les partenaires du plan d'action global. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Switzerland. I give the floor to the representative of Spain, to be followed by the United Kingdom.
Thank you very much. We thank the Secretariat for this comprehensive presentation of the budget and program work. We would like at this stage, and given the many references that have been made to the country approach, to the deepening of specific capacity building in each country, we would like to ask the Secretariat how this new key element or this key element is going to be put in greater importance. What are the innovations you envision in the functioning of these country offices, for example, from a managerial, from a technical, and from a financing perspective in order to put in practice this vision that you have pointed out? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Spain. I give the floor to the representative of the United Kingdom, to be followed by Germany.
Thank you. We've been pleased to have had a number of opportunities over the last 18 months to input into the development of the programme budget, which was adopted at the WHA in May, as well as the ongoing development of the results framework. And we thank the Secretariat for their continued consultation with Member States and for clearly listening to and acting on that feedback to date. We will be sending more detailed feedback on the results framework to the Secretariat in advance of the consultation planned in Geneva for later in the autumn, but wanted to use this opportunity to highlight one point regarding the UHC index. We had an update on metrics earlier, which was incredibly helpful, taken along with the update on the new methodology for the UHC index provided in the papers. And we also were interested to hear of plans to pilot these changes over the course of the year. But we would like to understand about the development of a methodology which appears to lead to an index separate from the SDG framework, and which has not been through the usual SDG IAEG approval process. And we are a little uncomfortable that the plan changes were not put forward under this year's IAEG consultation process, and would look for a confirmation from the Secretariat that the formal IAEG process will be followed once lessons have been learnt from the current pilots. A reading of the papers associated with this item also draws out once again the importance of resource mobilisation, and we look forward to hearing from the Secretariat on how the European region is linking up with the global resource mobilisation strategy and its related activity. And finally, we would also be interested in understanding the Secretariat's level of confidence the implementation of the budget and the related results framework is on track for the planned start date of 1st of January 2020. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I give the floor to Germany, I would ask please any other member states wishing to take the floor to indicate so while Germany is speaking, and then I'll close the list. Germany, you have the floor.
Herzlichen Dank, Herr Vorsitzender. Ich werde auf Deutsch reden. Ich nehme Stellung zunächst zu dem augenblicklichen Programmhaushalt 2018-2019, habe da einige Fragen, die ich aufwerfen werde und werde dann einen Ausblick geben auf das zukünftige Budget. Die erste Frage, die wir haben, ist in Paragraph 55 lernen wir, dass auch unsere Region noch 5,5 Millionen US-Dollar für die Poliobekämpfung erhält. Und uns würde interessieren, wofür ganz konkret die Poliomittel genutzt werden, weil auch unsere Region, ja, wie andere Regionen, schon seit einer geraumen Zeit poliofrei sind und uns grundsätzlich das Polio-Programm interessiert und wir ja da in einer Form der Transformation oder Transition sind. Dann sind wir beunruhigt hinsichtlich des Finanzierungsniveaus verschiedener Programmbereiche. Das ist in Paragraph 64, also dass einzelne Programmbereiche, insbesondere 6.2, Transparenz, Rechenschaftslegung und Risikomanagement, mit maximal 50% der Ressourcen rechnen können. Das ist aus unserer Sicht ein großes Risiko für die Organisation. Ein Bereich, ein inhaltlicher Bereich, den ich hervorheben möchte, ist, dass Umwelt und Gesundheit mit einem sehr, sehr geringen Budget zu kämpfen hat, was aus unserer Sicht angesichts der Dringlichkeit dieses Themenfeldes sehr bedenklich ist. Hinsichtlich der personellen Kapazitäten in unserer Region stellen wir fest, dass die Zahl der Mitarbeiter unserer Region in dem Zeitraum 2018-2019 um knapp 10% gestiegen ist. Das finden wir interessant und würden gern wissen, in welchen Bereichen und ob sozusagen ein Erhalt oder wie sich die Mitarbeiterzahl zukünftig entwickeln wird. Und dann möchte ich eingehen auf die Abbildung 7, die aus meiner Sicht wirklich lesenswert ist und die ja auch präsentiert wurde durch das Sekretariat, die mich darstellt, wie die Top-Donor der Region die Organisation finanzieren. Daraus wird relativ klar, dass es eine sehr, sehr hohe Abhängigkeit dieser Region von sehr, sehr wenigen Geldgebern gibt. Innerhalb der Top 5 Geber, die insgesamt mehr als 40% des Gesamthaushaltes unserer Region beisteuern, gibt es einen Mitgliedstaat dieser Region, 2 Mitgliedstaaten anderer Regionen und noch 2 weitere Geber. Und es zeigt allgemein, dass aus unserer Region, die ja eine große Geberregion ist, sehr viel Mittel nach Genf fließen, aber relativ wenig Mittel zurückfließen in unsere Region, was aus unserer Sicht problematisch ist und sicherlich mehr getan werden muss, um Mittel aus unserer Region auch für unsere Region zu rekrutieren. Und zuletzt würde ich auch auf den Punkt eingehen, den Spanien bereits angesprochen hat, die Finanzierung der Länderbüros. Wir stellen fest, dass es eine Adaption des Geschäftsmodells gibt. Wir gleichen uns an dem Geschäftsmodell, den es in anderen Regionen gibt, nämlich mehr Mittel in die Länderbüros. Und wir würden gern wissen, ob dafür die adäquaten, flexiblen Mittel vorhanden sind für die Zukunft. Danke.
Thank you, Germany. No more member states have requested the floor, and we have one request for an intervention by non-state actors. This is a joint statement from the Worldwide Hospice Palliative Care Alliance and the International Association for Hospice and Palliative Care. Dr. Jewel Ling, you have the floor.
Is it on? Yes? Oh, hello again. It's me again, sorry. I know it's late in the day. I'm here from the Worldwide Hospice and Palliative Care Alliance, and we thank the WHO Europe for the opportunity to comment on the implementation of the programme budget. We're concerned that there's no mention of palliative care as an essential component of healthcare, despite the WHO mentioning palliative care in its definition of universal health coverage. Many countries in Europe have led the way in demonstrating how palliative care is a crucial part of health. And it must be integrated into budgets for that to become a reality. There's no transparent information on budgets and the implementation of palliative care. Recent research published in the Lancet Commission shows that by 2060, an estimated 48 million people each year, that's 47% of all deaths globally, will die with serious health-related suffering. That's an increase of 87% compared to 2016. As has recently been seen in the UK and other countries across Europe, voluntary and philanthropic funded hospices and palliative care services are struggling to sustain their vital services. The time is now for the WHO Europe to take leadership in ensuring that budgets and plans at the global, regional and national level include concrete actions towards palliative care services as an essential part of the public health systems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no more speakers on the list. Doctors Basiri, Asma, Hollow, and Warning. Do any of you want to respond to the questions and comments raised? Dr. Basiri, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, distinguished delegates, for very important points made. And many of your advice and comments will be taken on board as we complete the process and finalizing it. But in particular, I would like to highlight a couple of points for your consideration. In terms of capacity building, which reflects the point made both by distinguished delegates of Spain and Germany, in terms of what is the plan for strengthening the capacity for risk management or capacity building at the country and regional level. Definitely that is a systematic plan that we have in mind, and one part of it is to look into bringing more digital based sort of processes and e-work processes into account to make a more systematic approach for certain processes and make it less, more robust and less timely. But for that also certain work is ongoing, which we can provide you with more reports in the future in the process of finalization of the program budget in terms of what is the plan for capacity building in terms of risk management. Areas like business continuity planning and internal control framework and risk management integrated into operational planning, monitoring and reporting, to name a few. In particular to and of course, it is also response to the point made by a distinguished delegate of Switzerland in terms of risk management. If I may also respond to the point that is made particularly for distinguished delegate of Germany in terms of polio. Yes, indeed, polio is an area that is doesn't exist in our region, but because polio eradication has not been declared and the world is not polio-free, vulnerability, particularly in Central Asia, countries and neighboring region and countries, indicates that precautionary measures and campaigns have to take place, so that the amount of resources that you see in the plan is all for making sure that we are prepared, and member states, particularly at the border, are in place. And for that, there are priority countries that they have their plans, and it's focused on those priority areas where there are vulnerabilities. In terms of funding level, yes, indeed, funding level when it comes to risk management is an area that is expanding. Meanwhile, the level of flexible funds, as I indicated in the presentation, are not expanding. So therefore, we need to go for innovative measures, more maturing more in business intelligence for risk management, digitization of the processes, e-work, and that is what we are looking at. And of course, looking at more intelligent way of evolution of the business model, as you indicated, from smaller presence at the countries and larger presence at the regional level to evolution of it at the sub-regional or multi-country approach that has been in plan, which needs to be discussed further with RD-elect to see his vision and how we want to proceed with that. I hope I have explained, I have responded to all the queries. If with your permission, I will ask colleagues to respond as well. Samira?
Thank you for the feedback. Question regarding not adding any additional reporting burden on countries, I think is a serious issue that we are taking Euro's example that can be spread globally. I think Europe, what WHO European Regional Office has done is a good model that we would like to use. We recognize that there is currently numerous surveys that are being sent forth to country offices that cause the burden. So we are working on that and will accelerate implementation. With regard to the question around UHC service coverage index, currently we are reporting on the UHC service coverage SDG 3.8.1. We also recognize that the current service coverage measurement does not fully capture the effective coverage part and the quality of coverage. And we have received recommendations when we presented it to IAEG a year and a half ago that we should improve, simplify the proposed measurement, pilot it in countries that are interested, and then present it back to the member states for evaluation, and then forward it to IAEG for consideration. So we have a number of countries that have come forward. We are simplifying the methodology and will share with you in October what the approach would look like, and then proceed in a systematic way rather than a rash way to move forward with changing the current SDG index.
Thank you very much, Drs. Asma and Basiri. Any other of the directors wishing to comment? No. Okay, Susanna?
I'm not a director, but I thought that you would give me the floor.
Yes, please. I mean, you're the Deputy Director General, so of course I'll invite you to comment on
I'm
this.
just joking. Now, one issue that I wanted to raise, and this is back to the question of Germany. I think that is a very important question for this region, whether the level of budget is enough for this region. I can tell you, no, it is not enough. It is a very small budget compared to the size of the region and the number of the member states. What we are doing now in headquarters at our own initiative is to look in which areas we can push some funding out from headquarters to the regions and to the countries, and we are doing it through three different ways. First of all, we try to find a new way of how we develop the donor agreements, making it possible that the funding can be distributed both horizontally and vertically, because many of the donor agreements agree funding only for WHO headquarters, which does not help in this distribution. The second issue is that we have increased the budget center responsibilities from the level of the directors to the level of EXDs, ADGs, which would make this distribution horizontally and vertically easier. And the third issue is that we are working with each and every EXD, Executive Director, and ADG to review the donor agreements to see where the funding can go and does not have to stay in headquarters. And in this regard, we are working with this group also to make sure that everybody understands that we all have both a headquarters role and a global role. So the role of the EXDs, ADGs is not only for headquarters, but for the whole organization, because if we want to have a WHO which is aligned across the three levels of the organization, we have to push this. So these are the three issues that are going ahead. The DG is very committed to make progress on this, and particularly to put more funding into the country offices. That was part of his vision in the general program of work. So we are looking at every single recruitment in headquarters. We are recruiting only in those areas where there is a gap. And then in addition to that, we also see how we can compensate for the recruitment so that we can allow more funding to flow to countries and regions. So this is a piece of work that is taking place now. But from 1st of January, we want to have a well-developed system, including a small global team that helps with the distribution of funding.
you very much, Susanna. As we have no resolutions to adopt under these two sub-items, this concludes our work for today.